Hey y'all. So I don't normally do any videos. I'm normally a blogger. I run a blog called From Kristen's Brain. Links will be in the description. I do a lot of book discussions, and I also write fan fiction. I do Tumblr challenges. I talk about music that I really like. It's a whole conglomeration of everything I'm interested in. So for my blog, throughout the month of June, I reread the Harry Potter series for probably the millionth time, and I wanted to kind of see how other people ranked the Harry Potter books, and so I went on YouTube and I kind of looked up some videos, and I didn't find very many. And the ones that I did find had totally different rankings than I did. There were a couple that were kind of similar, but they were mostly really different. So I decided that I would go ahead and film a video about my rankings of the Harry Potter books. So that being said, let's get started. So I really love the Harry Potter series. So when I say this is my least favorite, I mean it's still an amazing book. It's just my least favorite of 7 really amazing books. And so the book that I put as my least favorite book is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now the book that I put at number 6 is kind of close to this one as far as how much I like it. I feel like this one is a little bit plot-wise more complex and interesting than the book that I put at number 6. But it's just not my favorite. I disagree with the people who say that it's not as dark as other books, because it's not dark, but I mean, you know, they go into the Chamber of Secrets, he fights Voldemort, Professor Lockhart's memory gets erased, a student is taken down into the chamber and almost dies. I mean, that's pretty dark. That being said, Chamber of Secrets just simply isn't my favorite. I just don't enjoy it as much as the other books. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's too short, or I just don't like the plot as much. I don't know. Overall, they're all great books, but if I had to choose one that I enjoyed the least, it would be that one. And it's probably the one I have the hardest time getting through again, just because I don't find it quite as interesting. And I do have a physical copy of this. It's just not with me right now, so we have my lovely Kindle standing in. So, like I said, the books that I put at places 6 and 7 are fairly equal to me, but the one that I put at the 6th spot is just a little bit better, in my opinion. And that is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the first book in the series. Now, I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me and be like, no, that's the book that started out. But, I mean, plot-wise, I think it's not as intricate as Chamber of Secrets was, because there were a lot of little, intricacies that I missed the first couple times through about the Chamber of Secrets plot. But even though this one's not quite as plot-driven as Chamber of Secrets is, it has all these little moments that I've grown to really, really love, and it has some of my favorite Harry Potter quotes, and I don't know, I just like it better than Chamber of Secrets. Now, like I said, it is in the 6th spot, so it's not necessarily my favorite Harry Potter book. I do feel that it's a little bit more, it was written to be a children's book, and so it's aimed at children, and so it's a little childish. It's not saying it's not dark. The whole series is pretty dark. I mean, he faces Voldemort as an 11-year-old. Overall, though, even though Sorcerer's Stone has a lot of those little moments that I really, really love, the overall book just isn't quite as exciting. Like I said, it's a little bit more childish than a lot of the books, and as a 20-year-old, I can't relate to it quite as much. But again, I do love it, and it gets 6th place on my list. So now we've reached the 5th spot on my list, which coincidentally belongs to Harry Potter Book 5, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. Now, I don't agree with the people who think that it dragged and think that it was boring and that 800 and whatever pages was just too long. I like long books. I appreciated having this marathon of reading and feeling successful at the end of it. However, a lot of the stuff that happened in the middle of the book wasn't that exciting for me. I really loved the stuff at the beginning with Harry and the Dementors. I thought that was really exciting. And the stuff at the end was also really exciting, with Harry learning about the prophecy and the whole scene at the Ministry of Magic. But the stuff in the middle wasn't really that entertaining or interesting for me. I mean, the DA was great, and it was really cool to see those lessons, and Umbridge was perfectly evil, and I wanted her to die more than I wanted Voldemort to die. And the scene with Harry seeing Mr. Weasley get attacked, all of those were really great. But it was all that little in-between stuff with like Harry and Cho and some of the not so important plot points that had me not quite so entertained. I feel like a lot of it was important to the overall plot, but I just didn't like it as much. So that's why Order of the Phoenix gets the 5th spot on my list. So, coincidentally again, the 4th spot on my list belongs to the 4th Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. Once again, I don't have the physical book with me, it's just on my Kindle. Up until this reread, I'd always kind of had Order of the Phoenix and Goblet of Fire kind of tied on my list of favorites, just like with the Sorcerer's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets. But this read-through really solidified the Goblet of Fire as 4th, rather than tied with Order of the Phoenix, because I really, really loved Goblet of Fire reading it through. I thought that the Triwizard Tournament was really exciting, and a little bit more exciting than I remembered it being. We also get the return of Voldemort, which was not only a really exciting scene to witness, it was also really important to the plot overall. Oh, and the Quidditch World Cup, that was also really exciting and interesting. I just feel like this whole book was really, really exciting, and it was a really fast-paced book because there were all these secrets that you were trying to uncover, and there were all these little tasks that Harry was doing for the Triwizard Tournament that kept you constantly on your toes, and it was really exciting and interesting, and I really enjoyed it much more this time around than I had before. So it makes my 4th place spot. So once we get up into the top 3, these 3 are the ones that I really, really, really love in the series. These are the ones that I think are the most special to me, just because I love them so much. And coincidentally again, I didn't even realize this was happening until I just started filming this. But 3rd place goes to Harry Potter Book 3, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Prisoner of Azkaban is when we first learn about Sirius and Lupin and all of the things that they did at school with James Potter, and obviously Wormtail's not important, he's terrible and he needs to go away. I also really love the Time Turner scene. I know a lot of people don't really like it and they get annoyed because if you have the Time Turners you could just go back in time and, you know, save James and Lily and do all these other things. But I really do think that the Time Turner scene is really interesting, and I really liked watching it in the movie too. But like I said, the 3rd book we get introduced to so many people and things that are just so important to the rest of the series and that I really, really love. Lupin and Sirius are 2 of my favorite characters in the entire series, and I think I probably like Lupin a little bit more than Sirius. I know a lot of people disagree with me. My first read-through of the Harry Potter series, Prisoner of Azkaban was my least favorite, and it was because of the whole end scene, and I think I was just disappointed as, you know, a 10-year-old that Harry didn't fight Voldemort again, and that it was kind of like anticlimactic because the guy that they thought was the villain really wasn't. But now that's probably my favorite part of the book. I really love learning that Sirius, you know, wasn't the bad guy everyone thought he was, and that Wormtail was actually the one that killed everyone. And I think that whole scene from the Whomping Willow on through the end of the book, that whole part of the book is just so great, and it's one of my favorite parts of the entire series. Also, the 3rd book is also when we get one of the most exciting and awesome Quidditch matches that we've gotten through the entire series. I'd probably say it's my favorite, because Gryffindor and Slytherin are both fighting it out to get the House Cup, and they're both resorting to these terrible tactics just to win the House Cup. And it's such an exciting Quidditch game because everyone's fouling each other, everyone is breaking all the rules, and to see Gryffindor win at the end, and Wood, for Oliver Wood to finally get the House Cup, it's just really exciting, and I really love that Quidditch game. So overall, Prisoner of Azkaban is my 3rd favorite of the books. So now we've gotten down to the last 2 books in my series, my 2 favorite Harry Potter books, and you've probably realized that they are the last 2 books in the series. These 2 books have gone back and forth ever since their release as to which one was my favorite. for the longest time it would be one and then it'd be the other, and it's just gone back and forth and back and forth. But right now I feel like I think I've got it pretty determined, but I mean, it could change again, who knows. Without further ado, my second favorite Harry Potter book is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, Book 7, the exciting conclusion to the entire series. Now, I know a lot of people found the first half of this book, or at least all the camping scenes, to be really boring, and so they don't really like this book quite as much, although I know a ton of people do count this as their favorite Harry Potter book. But I don't know, I just think that it's all really, really important to the plot, and I was so glad when they decided to make two different movies, a part 1 and a part 2, just because I knew that they couldn't cram all of that information into one single movie. It just wasn't possible. To me, this entire book is just really exciting, and it's just this epic conclusion to this series that I loved so, so much. I really love it. It's a great conclusion to a great series, and especially the last 200 pages? I don't know, the battle scene at Hogwarts. That is the most exciting and action-packed part of the entire series, and we learn the information about Snape, and I feel like that's some of the most important plot-wise information that we get the entire series, and I just really love this book. It has a very special place in my heart, and it is my second favorite Harry Potter book. So by now you've already realized that my favorite book in the Harry Potter series is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the 6th book in the series. Now, physically, this book holds a very special place in my heart because it's the only book I was able to go get at its midnight release. I went to the release party, and I waited in line, and I got it mere minutes after the book was released, and I was just so excited to read it. I didn't get to start it till the next day because I was 11 and my parents could still, you know, make me go to bed, and they could tell whether I had my light on or not. But I read it as quickly as I could the next day, and I just devoured it. Rereading the 6th book this past month was kind of like going back home. I've read it so many times that the first 3 chapters I almost have from memory. But those 3, especially the very beginning, it's just very like comfortable and it feels like home. The scenes with Harry and the Pensieve are some of my favorite scenes in the entire series. I think that Voldemort's backstory is really, really interesting, and obviously it's really important for Harry to know all this information, but I just think it's really, really interesting to go back and to see all the memories from all the people that Voldemort had contact with, and to see Voldemort as he was growing up, and to see how even then there were little hints that he would someday, you know, be kind of evil. I don't know, this book, it just, even though it has a lot of relationship drama in it with, you know, Ron and Hermione and Harry and Ginny, it just, I really, really love it. The entire thing. I mean, normally a 600-something page book would feel like, you know, a bit of a marathon when you read it in only 2 days. But I flew through it this time, and it just felt like I was home. I don't know how else to put it. It's just my favorite book in the series. It's so awesome. So I was going through these books, and I normally on my blog will also rank the covers from favorite to least favorite, and I figured, you know what, I might as well just do that on here too. So here are my Harry Potter book covers from least favorite to favorite. So my least favorite of the Harry Potter covers is Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Now I feel like I'm hating on this book quite a bit in this video because it's my least favorite on both of my lists, but I just don't think this cover is very memorable. And when I think of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, I think of the movie cover, and that for me is a sign of a very not memorable book cover. Number 6 on my list is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This one's never been one of my favorites, mostly because of the front of the cover. I think the stuff on the back is really cool, and having the Goblet of Fire is also really cool looking, but the front is just not that interesting for me. I like that we can see, you know, Sirius peeking over the side, but I guess I don't think Victor Crumb and Cedric Diggory were drawn really how I pictured them, and so I've never really been a huge fan of the front of the cover. So that's why it's number 6 on my list. Number 5 on my list is Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. I think that this cover really matches the tone of the book very well. It's very mysterious and dark, which is, I think, exactly what Order of the Phoenix is. I really like that we can see all the doors in the Department of Mysteries, and that we can see Harry's shadow as he's trying to get through the door, and we see Mad-Eye Moody and Tonks and Sirius. I think overall it's just a really good cover, and it's definitely the first thing I think of when I think of Order of the Phoenix. Number 4 on my list is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is the cover that I have the most mixed feelings about. If this list were based just off of the front of the cover alone, this book would be in 6th place. However, when looking at the whole panorama, I think this cover is really, really cool. I really wish that the back of the cover had been the front, because I love seeing Harry's Patronus and the Whomping Willow, and Sirius as Padfoot, and Hagrid's shack and the Dementor, and I think the back is just really, really cool. But when looking at the front, I like that Buckbeak's on there, and I like that they're flying, but I just, for some reason, I don't know if it's like just the color scheme of the front, I don't know, I just don't like it as much. Maybe it's because Peter Pettigrew's there. I'm not sure, but that's why it's in the middle, because I really, really love the back, and I'm not a big fan of the front. Number 3 on my list is the Harry Potter cover that started it all, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. All of the Harry Potter covers are really, really detailed, but I think this one is the most detailed, and it's what most people consider to be the most iconic of the Harry Potter covers. We see Harry sneaking out of bed, we see Fluffy, we see a unicorn, we see Dumbledore, we see the flying key from the quest to get the Sorcerer's Stone, we see an owl, we obviously see Harry flying to catch the golden snitch, we have a bludger. It's just so many details, and it's done in such a great panoramic shot. I think it's really iconic, and I really enjoy it. And so it's number 3 on my list. My second favorite cover is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Now, a lot of people do think that the first book has the most iconic cover, but for me, the cover that I think of when I think of the Harry Potter books is the cover of Deathly Hallows. I think it's probably because the orange of the cover is just so vivid, and I really love that Harry and Voldemort are facing off against each other for the final time. And I don't know, I think it's a really iconic cover, and it's what I think of when I think of Harry Potter. So it's number 2 on my list. And finally, my number 1 favorite Harry Potter cover is the cover of Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Now, I really love that this shows Harry and Dumbledore looking into the Pensieve, because those are my favorite moments in this book, and it is my favorite Harry Potter book. I also really love the back cover, with the dark mark up in the sky, and Ron and Hermione and Ginny looking up at it, because I feel like both of these images show the most exciting and interesting parts of the book, and I just really enjoy it. So those were my rankings of the Harry Potter books and their covers. I hope you enjoyed this. It was my first, real attempt to, do an actual video with talking, so I think it went pretty well. Let me know in the comments what your favorite Harry Potter books are, and if you have a full ranking, let me know. I'm always interested to see what other people think. And let me know what your rankings of the covers are too, because I haven't seen a ton of people really ranking the covers. So I think it'd be really interesting to see what everyone thinks. Thanks for watching. If you want to, check out my blog. Again, link will be in the description below. Because I did a full discussion on the Harry Potter series as a whole, including not only my rankings of the books and the covers, but also, my favorite characters and some other details about how I feel about the series. On my blog, I also did discussions about each of the Harry Potter books individually, which you can again check out at the link below in the description. Thanks for watching!